Holy crap, everybody. Can you believe that they actually did the black costume? We were talking about it all over last year. There was that Instagram tease where he posted a picture, very clearly black fabric, but then they had all the edits and people were talking about different versions of the script. So not only do you see the black costume, you also see his Warframe from the comics. I believe that that's a version of this, like when he comes back in the black costume after the Return of Superman arc. He comes back to fight Cyborg Superman and drops out of the Warframe like, "Over my dead body, you're going to destroy this city." Because you can clearly see that his lip is not CG, I think that this was actually from the Zack Snyder cut of the film. There's been so much talk about that too. I don't want to get too much into that, but if you're one of the conspiracy theorists, then there has been more evidence recently, especially just roundabout things that Zack Snyder has done on social media to indicate that there is actually a Zack Snyder cut that they could do if they wanted, but what it seems like is happening right now, there's going to be one version of the Blu-ray, and this is one of the deleted scenes from that. So they have like a mishmash of deleted scenes. So pretty standard Blu-ray release. It's not going to be a version of Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad where there's like an extended cut of the film. But you look at him here walking onto the scout ship, and obviously they're playing his Man of Steel theme song. And as you see him walk up in frame, he's not wearing shoes and he's wearing the plaid shirt that you saw him in after he came back to the Kent farm. So he wakes up, they have that conversation about how he needs to go help the Justice League out and he needs to do what's right, has the reunion with Martha Kent, then goes back to the scout ship, and this scene picks up, and this takes place before he puts on that tuned up version of the blue costume and goes back into battle to help the Justice League with Steppenwolf. So if there was any confusion about where this was supposed to appear, it was after this, but before this. And I think the whole idea with this black costume reveal is it was a big wink at the comics, like, hey look, we're doing the comic book thing, and here's the Warframe from the comics, wouldn't it be so badass if he wore that? But very clearly what it seems like the scene is implying is that he walks in and they just automatically open up, offering him access to whatever he might need. He turns and looks at another pod that we don't see that opens up, and you just see him considering it for a moment. That's probably the blue version of the costume that he then puts on and flies into battle. So yes, it seems like there was black costume, but I don't think that they had the idea to make him wear it. Or if he was going to wear it, it was in an early version of the script, because there's all these apocryphal stories about how they rewrote the movie to change how Superman came back. Like in the version that we saw in theaters, they bring him back using the mother box, but that's not the original way that he was supposed to come back. There was supposed to be this whole Darkseid arc where he resurrects Superman and mind controls him to fight the Justice League. So like when he's fighting them at his monument there, that's a Zack Snyder scene, but the context for it during the original version of the movie was completely different from what we saw. The easiest way to tell what they changed from the original version of the movie is just looking for when that CG mustache removal shows up. So like Do You Bleed? That's a reshoot. A lot of the scenes that were cut into that final fight are reshoots as well. Like there's actually scenes that you can tell where it's original Henry Cavill, so Zack Snyder had a version of him fighting in this area here, but it was completely different. They changed the whole ending of the film, so they had to reshoot a bunch of these fight scenes, which is why he goes from looking normal, like when he dodges the fist here. This is original Zack Snyder footage. Then you go to the next scene right after that here, and it's CG mustache removal, so it's clearly a reshoot. So really cool that they actually did the Return of Superman from the comics, if you're a big comic book fan, and if not, then you probably didn't miss it. But now you know why people were freaking out about potential black costume last year. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this? And do you actually think there was a version of the movie where he wears that costume? Because if Zack Snyder shot this scene, then very clearly he did not intend for him to wear the black costume when he flew into battle for the final time. But what might have happened in like the original 3.5 or 4 hour cut of the film, Steppenwolf might have resurrected Superman, then he goes and puts the black costume on, fights them. Then Batman brings in Lois as was originally intended, as implied by Batman v Superman. Lois is the key, and then he goes off, gets his head on straight, comes back to the scout ship, puts the blue costume back on, then goes and joins the Justice League as a fan of justice. You may have seen some of the concept art too, because obviously they cut this film way down. I think it was like an hour and 59 minutes. It was like right around 2 hours long. So I think the original plan was for the film to be around 2.5 hours just because they had this whole dark side story that they cut out of the film. And you've probably seen some of the deleted scenes with the other characters that give Cyborg some more backstory, give Flash some more backstory. There was like a whole Iris West scene that they cut out of the film because they knew that they were going to be making some changes with the Flashpoint movie, and they wanted whoever the new director that was going to come in to be able to recast the Iris West role if they wanted to, which is a whole other story, but it's coming out on Blu-ray really soon, so you guys will be able to see all the deleted scenes, or at least some of them. I don't think they're going to include everything, but there was actually a legit amount of finished CG that they had done for a bunch of the original Zack Snyder cut before they shifted gears into a more positive direction. Like, they wanted to make a more hopeful film. I think the Zack Snyder cut was just more of like the uber dark violent stuff that he had done in previous films. But maybe we'll never know. Who knows? I'm sure at Comic-Con in like 10 years, if Zack Snyder goes back ever, people can ask him those questions. Maybe he'll answer them, because I don't think that he's going to be making any superhero films with Warner Brothers anytime soon. But if you guys didn't know, in related DC movie universe news, they're shooting the Shazam movie right now. Zachary Levi posted a picture of him covered up, but wearing the Shazam costume. He's like, I'm wearing it underneath this coat. Obviously, he couldn't show it to us. Now, we know that the people that did Spider-Man Homecoming are doing the Justice League Flashpoint movie, but we'll probably find out more about that at Comic-Con, because now that they've locked down their directors, they're going to rewrite the script. They'll probably have some more news about like, hey, this is the spin we're going to do. These are the characters we're thinking about including in it. But as far as Matt Reeves, Batman, Ben Affleck, there haven't been any updates about that. People are saying that he's just waiting to read the script, like maybe he'll still do it, but now it's looking like he might not do it. Henry Cavill, on the other hand, is totally down to do more Superman movies. Like, he's been doing interviews. I posted those videos a while ago where he's like, how do you want them to explain Clark Kent being dead and then coming back?
We will work something out, absolutely. But it's a matter of making it interesting for you guys. We could spend an entire movie on it, but we're not going to, because there's more Superman stories to tell.
Plenty.
How do you think he should come back? How would you like to see him come back?
I think right now the plan is, and until they find a really solid idea for the next Man of Steel movie and lock down a director, they'll just look for places that they can add him in movies for cameos where relevant. So like I did a Shazam video explaining why that's a really good place for him to pop up. Wonder Woman is also a really solid pick, just because those characters are kind of in the same tone in the DC movies. But speaking of which, we actually learned that the working title of the Wonder Woman movie is Magic Hour, seeming to imply that Cersei will be the big villain of that, just because magic as in literal magic, but winking from behind the camera, because magic hour is actually a filmmaking term that people use to describe this really small window of time where the sun hasn't quite set yet and you get this really awesome orange glow. But because this was such a surprise, I'll go ahead and do a new round of that Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and share the video using those tools on the watch page. I'll name a winner when I post new DC this weekend. I wasn't expecting this to drop, so there are some other Marvel videos that I want to post, so I'll try to get that out as fast as possible. But click here for my new Flash promo, and click here for that new Avengers Infinity War promo. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.